Okay, so you're here, you're ready. We are unlocking your magic today. I want to talk to you for a minute about why this piece is so important because I'm experiencing it right now, okay? So in the creation of Monetize Your Magic, I am being completely transparent about the fact that I don't know if teaching business and doing business exclusively is really my magic, just like to be real, right? I have an immense amount of knowledge from building a business myself, being very successful online, becoming, basically like a micro celebrity online. I got an immense amount of notoriety and recognition in a very short period of time. And the reason why that worked back when I was a professional witch, if you don't know who I am, I was a professional witch, is because I had unlocked my magic. I was really thriving in my magic, quite literally in magic. And the truth is that this is part of my reality now for many thousands of years on Earth. Okay, that's just kind of the cut and dried part of it, is for thousands of years on Earth, I had done magic, I had done witchcraft, I had been an expert in it. I literally just came in with all of this knowledge and was able to tap into that. But then the grid shift happened. Okay, so the grid shift happened in 2021, December of 2021, the grid of Earth, the energetic grid or matrix of Earth started to shift. And many people noted that there were lots of external shifts going on with this. And you could see that present in the world. Many people didn't recognize the internal shifts that were going on. I did, right? So people, it really started with the pandemic, with people starting to get kind of discontent with how they'd been making money, what they had been doing for a career, how they had been living, and all of that stuff. So the thing is that when you go through a significant transformation in your life, you're typically going to have this happen. So a lot of people just kind of wrote it off as oh, well, that's just what's going on right now. But the world has changed, not just on a physical and societal level, but on an actual energetic level. The entire grid of Earth is different now. It's a different grid. So what worked really well in the old Earth doesn't work in the new Earth. And the missions that people had for old Earth aren't the missions that people have for new Earth. And what was our magic in the old Earth might not still be our magic in the new Earth. So for me, literally part of the work that I did was knowing that I was going to stop doing witchcraft the way that I had for literally thousands of years. It literally is like a part of my soul now, because it was time for Earth to shift. And if I was going to continue to monetize that magic, and if I was going to continue to uphold that magic, I was actually going to be working against what I as a soul had been doing and was doing for Earth, right? So it's at some point I had to go, this is no longer serving Earth. This is no longer serving the higher purpose. This is no longer serving me and what I now get to do. So I have to quit. But then there's this void space, and you're well, what the fuck do I do now? Just to be perfectly honest, what the fuck do I do now? What do I do now? Because the truth is, you are a cosmic, multidimensional being. You have been on a mission for Earth and other places for a long time, right? For a very long time. There was the whole, frequency wars or galactic wars or Star Wars or whatever you want to call them, right? Like that happened. And then there were various frequency ranges that were just really fucked up, is the best way to put it. It was completely, there was no resonance. It was just like frequencies gone wild in these certain areas. And so a team of multidimensional, galactic, cosmic beings came together and have been working to harmonize that, is like the best way to put it, right? Like there's no, I don't have like emotions about like right or wrong. It's really all perception, and it all started because Source had a BF, is the way that I put it, because Source had a thought, and then a bunch of stuff happened from there, right? The coffee's brewing, if you can hear that in the background. I had to start recording. Wow, it's like the coffee pot's having a BF. Okay, so anyways, moving right along. So there's my little intro into like why we're doing all of this. This is not just monetizing your magic for everybody. This is not just, a business program for the world, right? And I'm realizing this as I'm recording this. So this is kind of like, let me make sure my phone, like, okay, we've got 20%. My phone was like at 1%. The coffee wasn't made. It's like 8 a.m. And I woke up and I was like, we got to do this shit. Right. So the truth is like, I don't know if this is what I want to do forever. I know that I have a lot of knowledge about business, and I know that I'm here to help the cosmic homies find a way to make money and also unlock the next stage of what we all came here on, to do on Earth. Right. Through this. So that's what we're doing here. Okay. I'm glad we're all on the same page now. So we had these cosmic missions, right? And we did them really well for a long time. You did great. You did excellently. I'm so proud of you. I know that if you're listening to this, I know that we know each other. I know that I needed that first sip of coffee. I know that we've been doing stuff together for a long time, homie. Okay. Like you're here. You did it. We did it. It's over. Congratulations. Now what? Right? So it's really helpful if you tap into the cosmic energy of, I was on a mission to Earth. I am still on a mission to Earth. However, I have finished my mission. Like it's over. Like that was the grid shift was the mission, right? We just had to get the new grid up and running. And then it's like everything unfolds from there. Like you don't even have to worry about what you do now. There is no make or break for Earth. There is no war for Earth. The war is over. It's literally just a matter now of letting it unfold. The grid activation was completely successful. That was really like the last stage of my, what I was doing for that. There was a lot to it, which is a completely different recording. But it was like a 2-year-long process. That's actually why I went back to Texas in December of 2023. If you saw that I left North Carolina, went back to Texas, Michael, my husband, and I have been on this big, journey across the United States. I've been gridding, right? And I had to go back to Texas to finish what I started in Texas because I mostly did the grid, and what I did on the grid, I did in Texas. And I had a bunch of portals open still in Texas. I had to go close a bunch of shit out, and I had to I physically had to be on the ground to channel the codes in for that full activation of the new grid, and just to kind of finish the whole thing. And then it's like it was over. So December 2023 hits. And the reality is for 4 years now, people have just been trying to find traction again. They've been trying to figure out what to do ever since. Now I've got some hiccups going on, but that's fine. We're just going to keep going. Ever since the catalyst of, the pandemic in 2020 and all of the crazy stuff that happened there. So now it's like all these cosmic beings are awakening. People are starting to realize that they do not want to be in a 9-to-5 anymore, not so that they can go out and make, bajillions of dollars or anything like that. It's really not about the money. We're multidimensional infinite beings. We don't give a fuck about the money. We might enjoy money. We might enjoy what money can buy. I'm going to be honest. I try to treat money like my best friend. I'm very nice to money. I feel like I have a great relationship with money, but it's not about monetary purposes. It's just like the money is just a factor. It's just a measurement. Money's a measurement. It's a unit of measurement. How much money you have is a unit of measurement in like multidimensional land. Okay. So it's not about that. It's about the fact that people are completely incompatible. You as a cosmic soul are incompatible with working a muggle job. I'm going to continue to use that verbiage because it's worked really well for me for 8 years now, right? So I realized I was incompatible with working a muggle job long ago. That was actually part of my mission, was to do all of this in the old grid and then to come back and do it again in the new grid. Because the truth is, I got to be honest, I don't know what the fuck's going to work in the new grid for just about everything. We're in this very exploratory era right now, on a multidimensional level here on Earth as cosmic beings. We have to stop acting like we are actually affected by the programming or like we actually give a shit about it, to be perfectly honest, right? We have to disengage from that old matrix, from that old grid, from that old energy, and from that old programming. And we have to really tap into like, who am I? I really think that the secret to everything comes down to know thyself. You can tell I was an oracle of Delphi, can't you? I was both the first and the last oracles of Delphi, actually. I was the oracle that told the Romans to get fucked. And I'm still proud of that. And the truth is, I've also retired as an oracle because for the first time in literally time immemorial, I don't know how long, I don't need to oracle anymore. Now, of course, I still get the newsletter and everything, like, still very, consciously tapped in, and I channel all the time, and like, there's no shutting off that faucet. But it's like, I don't have to do it for other people now, because it's like anybody can do it for themselves if they want to. And so it's like, well, I could spend my time going out and telling people that, but to tell you the truth, like, what do I want to do? So we're going to start Unlock Your Magic in a very unconventional way, but I literally want you to think about the fact that like you are an operative. You are a cosmic operative. Okay? You're a cosmic operative, and you're a multidimensional baddie. Hello. You are a badass in every dimension of reality, and you hold a very specific frequency. So the first step is recognizing your frequency. And the way that you really start to tune into your frequency is not through external identification with a frequency range, although we have those, and I can identify anyone's frequency in the like archetypes that they hold in that frequency. Kind of one of my superpowers. And we have the cosmic archetypes and all of that, and all of those align with cosmic astrology, and that's all super cool. Yeah. This is more about tapping into like who you are, who you actually are, what you actually enjoy. The thing is that most people were programmed to do jobs and to make money in ways that did not spark joy. Okay? It didn't spark joy. But we were programmed that was just the norm, right? You just, you got to hustle. You got to grind. That's just, that's part of the game, right? I saw a thread this morning that had the words, feelings, something like, business doesn't involve feelings. And all I could think was, well, it does actually. Lots of feelings come up when you do business. Most people have just been programmed that they have to compartmentalize those feelings. And so this is why we have, lots of people, usually of the masculine persuasion out there, driving themselves crazy over business. Right. And the truth is that I think a lot of the men folk are getting sick of this as well. Right. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I never wanted to do this. And particularly our cosmic masculine beings are like, wait, what? You want me to just shove all my feelings in a little compartment, and you want me to just keep going, and I don't get to have any say in the matter, and I just have to keep producing, and I just have to keep hustling, and I just have to keep grinding, and this is it. This is literally what I came here for. Like, this is it. Like, no wonder they're all depressed. I mean, anybody would be. That's why everybody is depressed. Because everybody feels like that. It doesn't matter what your gender is, and it doesn't matter, right? Because that's the programming that everyone got. So now it's time to like break out of that. So like, I honestly feel like, I've got all of these programs that I'm about to create. And we're starting here with Unlock Your Magic. And it's like, I can't tell if this is my magic and this is what I'm going to do going forward, or if this is like the tail end of my cosmic mission on Earth. Like, all right, well, you collected all of this knowledge from spending tens of thousands of dollars and thousands of hours in business classes and courses and programs and all of this stuff, and you figured out how to make it not suck. So like, do this and then you move on. Like, I legitimately, I don't know. So this morning I thought, well, let's just start doing it. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens, right? Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I'm a multidimensional infinite being. I'm tapped into my frequency. I know who the fuck I am. I know who I've been forever. I literally remember the beginning of time. I literally remember the beginning of space. Like, I have full, like, consciousness. Like, I remember it all. That's why things really don't, like, faze me too much when I'm like, nah. It's all kind of made up. I remember when all of this stuff didn't exist. I remember when it all existed, right? So it's like, we're sitting here and it's like, I have a level of knowledge and consciousness which is literally insane. Most people would just call me crazy or delusional, but that's fine. I'll be delulu as fuck. That's cool. But I don't know what the fuck I want to do to make money. I don't know what the fuck I want to do when Raja comes down off the ship and we have this like meet cute, because he's like pretending to be a human, and he goes, oh, well, what do you do? I don't have anything to say. I'm like, well, I used to be one of the best professional witches in the world. Well, what do you do now? I don't know. Right? That's so silly. And the thing is that I'm seeing this happen all across the board, right? Every single multidimensional bitch I know is feeling like this, unless they had already locked in what they were doing sometime post-pandemic, but pre-grid shift. Okay? That's the only exception that I'm seeing. Or people have had, I do know a couple of multidimensional beings who have had like big meltdowns, big crises, almost completely split ways with what they were doing, and then realized that they could move into the new grid with that, right? Particularly, like, I've seen people in the manifestation space who have they clearly experienced it. It was in the right timing. It was so obvious what was going on. But then they realized how to bring that work into the new grid. Right? So it's like, either your work is kind of like completely changed because new grid, or you have to transform that because new grid, or you just don't know what the fuck you're doing right now because new grid. Okay? You can basically blame everything right now on the new grid. It's a very unique time and space, particularly for Earth, because Earth has never experienced this before. We have experienced this, but off of Earth. Okay? So time matrices have happened in different places in time and space, in different frequency ranges, and the people who have done this time matrix and then put the new grid into place, We have done this many other places. This is not our first rodeo. That's why like years ago I was like, it's going to fucking work. It's going to fucking work. It's going to fucking work, right? I wasn't worried about it. I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. I didn't know what I was going to do. If you had told me all of the crazy shit I was going to do between 2022 and 2024, if you told me that back in like 2019, I'd be like, you're fucking insane. I'm never going to do that. Absolutely not. Like, I get anxious if I'm away from home for more than like 2 weeks. There's no way I'm ever going to put all my stuff in storage and live out of suitcases we're at 5.5 months now, you guys. We're definitely going to hit 6. I don't know how long this is going to continue, but I never would have thought that I would do this, right? But then it's like the mission calls, and so you go do, because that's what you came here to do. But then what happens when the mission is like done? What happens when you're successful? What happens when you've finished? What is the magic then? And people are starting to see that, maybe they had a lot of stuff to do in the Muggle world, right? Maybe you're sitting here and you're listening to this and you're like, I'm freaking 60. And I had a hella successful career out in Muggle land. And now I just don't fucking care, right? I'm just over it. I've heard people saying that. And it's because of the grid shift. It's because the grid shifted. And so what you were here doing, you were facilitating with whatever you were doing, right? Like, for example, maybe you were like a finance guy and you spent 20 years traveling all over the world doing big business with banks and finance people and those kinds of clients, right? And maybe you're now like, I don't care. I don't want to travel to Europe anymore. I don't want to travel to Asia anymore unless it's for vacation. I don't give a shit. What do I do? But I still have to make money, right? I still have to make money, but what do I do? That's what we're doing here. Because the truth is that so many people are just spinning their wheels because they don't know what the fuck to do. And that's the whole point of Unlock Your Magic, I've realized in the last 22 minutes. So if you're sitting here like, I've got this idea and I could go out and create it, but I just don't know if that's what I'm supposed to be doing, or I just don't know if this is going to work, go do. I'm going to be completely honest. That's going to be my absolute first piece of advice in this program, is just go do it. Because as I started recording this, things have started to unlock. It's so funny. It's called Unlock Your Magic. And in the creation of Unlock Your Magic, I was like, I'm going to unlock my magic. I'm going to hit record, because the stuff that I sit around and think is going to be completely different from what I say to people that may one day listen to this, right? So I just hit record. Super easy. So we are going to go through and we're going to figure out what the fuck you're passionate about. Most people don't know what they're passionate about. Most people have no clue what they are actually interested in beyond what they kind of list off if they're at, like a cocktail party or a happy hour or a dating profile or an Instagram bio. Most people do not know what they actually are passionate about, what they actually truly enjoy. And that's one of the biggest factors in people not being able to monetize their magic, is they don't know what the fuck it is. And the way that we start by figuring that out is by figuring out what you're actually passionate about. So we're going to start there. We're then going to go into, what do you want to get up and talk about every day? Because I'm going to be really honest. When you create a business, you get up and talk about it every day. You get up and you basically are creating a reality. You're creating a reality for yourself to live in, of your magic, of things that you find magical, right? That's really what your magic is. What do you find magical? What do you find magical, right? And so when you find something magical and you make that into your reality, you're going to get up and you're going to talk about it every day. But we have to make sure that you actually want to get up and talk about it every day, because one thing that people do is they tend to pick something that they think is going to make them money, and then they find that they hate getting up and talking about that every day. So then this is where we fall into, the like, waiting for the weekend, TGIF, can't wait to take their 10 days of vacation time per year out working in the matrix and in the icky, not in the grid, not working in a real matrix is just a way to perceive reality, a way to perceive physical form. A real matrix is a grid that unifies perception and experience. When we're talking about the matrix, the icky matrix, what we're talking about is really the production paradigm that has been placed as a veil of illusion on Earth right now, telling people that they basically just exist to work, that they basically just exist to produce, and that their only value comes from that work and that production. That's the matrix. Okay? So that word, you're going to hear me use that word for a couple of different things. Just roll with it. It's fine. You get it. You're a multidimensional infinite being. So it's cool. After we talk about what do you want to get up and talk about every day, we're going to figure out what you naturally do. The thing that, the things often for many people, the thing is that when we get into this, you start to have way too many options. You all of a sudden go from, I have no clue what to fucking do, to, oh my gosh, there's so many different things that I could do. So we want to tap into, this is why we get very specific with like, well, what do you really want to get up and talk about every day? What do you naturally do? What are the things that somebody brings it up and you, all of a sudden you just can't shut up about it, right? You become the life of the party. What do you naturally talk to people about? What do you naturally physically do? Maybe you're less of a talker and more of a doer, right? So what are those actual things? Then we're going to look at what would you actually enjoy getting paid for every day. So this is a thing that many people also don't take into account. They don't look at what would, when the money comes into my account, what would I actually be like, yes, I got paid for that. Ooh, a hiccup. What would I actually get excited about if several $1,000s got deposited into my account? Insert amount here. I don't care how much the amount is. What would I actually be like, yes, I got paid for that. This is awesome, And there's a little bit more that goes into that, and we're going to talk about that. After that, we're going to talk about what you're a specialist in, and this is going to be cosmic specialties. What is your soul a specialist in? What are the things that as a soul, as a multidimensional being, you are like the master of? We're going to dive into that. That's going to help you figure this out too. And then after we have the answers to these questions, and we've discussed this, hopefully, we're going to find out. You're going to, I haven't done it, so I can't say with certainty yet. But the goal is that we will all know what the fuck we want to go out and make money about. And so then we're going to cover the two most important parts of Monetize Your Magic, in my not so humble opinion. Who am I talking to and what am I saying? And this is something that you'll hear me talk about over and over and over, the importance of knowing who you're talking to and what you're saying. It informs everything about business and making money and actually finding success in this new grid. Who you were talking to in the old grid is likely not who you're talking to in the new grid. What you were saying in the old grid is likely not what you're saying in the new grid. So we have to tap into the now, not necessarily who it's always been or what it's always been, but who and what it is now. And then finally, we're going to have a multidimensional meditation for you, which is going to take you on a journey, and we're going to go read some of your cosmic business contracts. And I recommend you utilize this meditation whenever you're wanting to tap into cosmically who you're supposed to talk to now and what you're supposed to be saying, because this is going to help you really tap into like what you came here and you already had it in the bank, right? We tap into like your cosmic bank account. If you're not familiar with the concept of cosmic cash, you can read and listen about cosmic cash in the quad. And in the cosmic cash course there, I have that for free in the quad. You can just access it like anytime here on Which Are You. And cosmic cash is a really big factor in new grid business. Okay, so you set stuff up for yourself before you came in for this new. It's for the new grid. Oh, so much. I'm going to be honest. So much of what we're collectively, as multidimensional beings, in this little Earth project doing here is like, we don't know how this is about to work. I'm going to be really honest with you. Like, I've never done a grid like this. I remember the grids I've done. I paint them all the time in my artwork. You can see the grids that I've done. I will recognize where the grid is from, and it's really cool, but I've never done a grid like Earth. And this has been a really long project, and like, we got a little comfortable. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, we got a little comfy with what was going on and how we worked Earth and how we worked this grid, and we understood. And now we've shifted into this new grid, which is a combination of all of the other grids as well as specialized Earth stuff, right? So we had the 5 other time matrices. Those grids came into Earth. So those 5 frequency ranges, very predominant with the new Earth grid. But then we also have aspects from a lot of other multidimensional frequency ranges present in the Earth grid that are not present other places. So like, for example, I call them the boys from Beetlejuice. They don't really have a gender, to be honest. I just think the boys from Beetlejuice is like clever and they liked it. So there's 3 of them. There's literally 3 of them, right? There's a Beetlejuician part of the Earth grid because the boys from Beetlejuice are cosmic homies and agreed to come help out because Earth was kind of like a special situation, because instead of just having like one kind of more contained frequency range to deal with, there were a lot, like a lot. Like the only grid that I've done that was as complex as Earth was the full Orionid grid. And that's because we couldn't actually put a time matrix on Orion because it's a portal. Earth is also a portal. But instead of being one big constellation of a portal, it's one planet of a portal. So it's like, imagine if you took Orion as a portal and condensed it down into one planet. That's Earth. I have chills right now. I didn't know that till I said it, but now it makes sense. So very complex, lots of stuff to do, and lots of energies to tap into and to harmonize. You guys probably know by now, but if you don't, I've channeled well over 20 cosmic frequency ranges at this moment in time. I've had contact with energies and consciousness from those 20 plus frequency ranges because there was a lot to do in a very short period of time. My brains did feel a little bit scrambled, but it was okay. It was, it was really just like having a big party. You might need to decompress after you go to a festival, but you enjoyed seeing all of the homies. It was kind of like that. That was like 2023 for me. It was like I was at a cosmic festival and I saw lots of cosmic homies, and then I was like, I need to rest. Just a little as a treat. So tapping into what you cosmically set up for yourself for the new grid. I'm going to have to go record something else entirely about this. But basically, I'll give you a little 2-second synopsis here, and then we will move right on into what the fuck am I passionate about. But basically, with the old grid, you could come in, you could get a job, you could do business, you could do things. If you had a good enough spin and a good enough story and enough knowledge to get by, you could make money, right? one of the things that we've consistently seen has been people utilizing money or energetic exchange for disresonant things, right? So just like we saw, I'm getting a whole download right now. Welcome. You get it live, but it's pre-recorded, so you can access it anytime. It's cool. I don't have to show up and like say this every time. It's like I can say it once and then I'm done. That's what I love about recording. So just like with magic, I also just got an intense deja vu. Ooh, we are on the right track, cosmic homies. Okay, here we go. So just like with magic, money has shifted in the new energetic grid. We're no longer going to see people selling snake oil. That's literally what they just said to me. And I understand the reference. So we're no longer going to be seeing people, that's the whole thing. Magic changed with the grid, right? Witchcraft changed with the grid. In order to shut down all of the magic that people had been doing to other people rampantly for thousands of years, fucking with them, trying to control them, all of that stuff. The control narrative had to leave. So the control narrative had to leave on the grid. So the energy of control had to go, which is why the whole concept of really doing like widespread witchcraft, it just doesn't work anymore. I'm just gonna be really honest with you. It did. It doesn't anymore. I know. I've gone back and I've done like the exact same stuff, and it's just different, right? It's like some magic I can't even contemplate doing anymore. I haven't done it. I haven't tried it. I have no need to. But it's like people no longer need bindings and banishings because people can no longer cast magic on people that they would need a binding and banishing for. That's why I stopped selling them, right? That's why I changed my whole business model, because I got told magic's no longer going to work the same way. Witchcraft's no longer going to work the same way. And basically, if I had continued to sell those spells to people, they wouldn't have worked the same way. So actually the last spell work that I sold, and the last spell work that I don't believe I'll ever sell another spell again, was a cord cutting. It was a group spell. It was a cord cutting from 2023. It was the last thing that I did. And I'm good. Like I'm complete. That mission's complete, right? So just like people can try all they want. You can be out here casting all the, quote unquote black magic you think you're casting. But to tell you the truth, it's just going to have like the efficiency of like if you threw a dead fish at a wall, that fish ain't swimming anywhere, honeys, right? Like it might be annoying. It might smell. It's really not going to do much though. Which I think is why I so I have this Masterclass bundle that I recorded in the summer of 2023, and I called it the Spiritual Maintenance Masterclass bundle is what the bundle's called. But it's like a cord cutting, heart healing, road opener blockbuster. Now I have done a blockbuster since the grid shift and it worked. So some magic does still work. Higher vibrational witchcraft, absolutely still going to work. Lower vibrational, where you think that you're going to, bind people and you think you're going to control people and you think that you're going to be, everybody's just going to bow down to you because you cast a spell on them because you're an all-powerful witch and everyone should just like bow at your feet. That's so last grid, homies. Like it just doesn't work anymore. Sorry if you don't like it. It just doesn't, right? Of course, no one listening to this is going to be like, ugh, or anything, but there are many people out there who will. I tell you this story so that you can understand what's going on with money right now, because now I understand what's going on with money right now, okay? So in the same way that people have been using witchcraft to steal things, people, energy from other people, right? Steal realities from other people. People have been using money to steal realities from other people. That's really all it comes down to, is you just need the word realities. So in the new grid, money no longer works the same way. And I think that's why I've been channeling that a lot of big business is going to go under. A lot of corporations are going to bite the dust. The financial market is going to I don't believe in 10 years, we're still going to see the financial markets looking the way that they do. I don't think people are still going to trade the same way that they do. I don't think that the stock market's going to function the same way that it does right now. I don't think that credit score, I think it's highly likely that a wipe or something massive and drastic happens, and they'll probably try to give you like a rational explanation. It's coming. I'm telling you, in 10 years, it's like money has completely shifted, because what's actually happening on an energetic level is the grid changed. So now, you're always going to have some stragglers and stuff go on, but in a decade, the entire landscape of Earth is going to look entirely different. And so what we're feeling right now is that impending change. And so people who right now are like, I got to figure this shit out because I just can't continue in this way. And I know there's a reason for it. It's because as this new grid, I don't even want to say, it's not that it needs to strengthen. It's just like as it anchors in more, as the shift becomes more prevalent, as the shift becomes more noticeable, like it's not strengthening it. It's literally just about as more of it evolves and opens up into, kind of as the energetic grid trickles down into reality, we're going to be seeing this massive shift, particularly with finances and how people make money. You're also really likely to see people who have been making money. That was the whole snake oil comment a minute ago. So like, for example, it's been a really rampant thing to see in like the online business coaching space of people basically selling courses that do nothing. People selling, masterclasses that are just 2 hours of them selling their other products and giving you no information. People saying that they have the answers to people's problems, and then people invest thousands of dollars and they get really like nothing that they were sold in return, right? We're going to see those people across the board. Poof. It's just like people just stop buying with them. And the people who keep buying with them, like for example, there's this one coach in the online space who I was really interested in her work until I realized that her work was an amalgamation of a bunch of business books I had also read, and she was just putting a really good spin on it, right? I started paying attention to who was working with her, and I realized it was a bunch of people who were also doing the same thing. So what we're going to begin to see is like, it's all about frequency, right? Is like these riffs of like, you can just see, oh, there's a tower, there's a steaming pile of shit just sitting right there. And then there's a pile of gold. Before, you used to kind of have to, you had to go like, let's like think about gold, like how they used to go pan for gold, right? In the gold rush. They would take these, pans that they made with like a screen at the bottom, and they would literally sift through dirt hoping to find gold. Okay. Now it's like there's just a pile of dirt and there's a pile of gold, shiny gold, dirty dirt. You can pick which one you want. The people who frequency, align with a pile of dirt are flocking to the people who are like basically kind of selling nothing, right? Who are kind of just keeping that snake oil energy alive. But that's getting revealed very quickly. And then the people who are like, I'm going to the pile of gold, all the people who are going to the pile of gold are going to the pile of gold together. Okay? And it's literally just about choice. It's just about, do you want a pile of dirt or do you want a pile of gold? We cannot continue to do business in the old grid way and expect to be successful though. So that was actually a trepidation that I had about even recording any of Monetize Your Magic. I was like, oh my God, like this is really like how I built up, Harvest Rose. Like is it not going to work anymore? I actually think it is. I'm going to be honest. The bogeys tried to come in and be like, that's old grid. You just spent 2 years doing a bunch of old grid stuff, and now you have to stop and start over and you suck, right? That's just remnants from the old grid, honestly. There were a bunch of glitches in that matrix, okay? There was a bunch. Think about it like a code, okay? Think about a matrix or a grid. In this instance, we're talking about, a matrix being a grid, not a matrix being a control and production paradigm. So think about it like computer code. Okay, if you had a computer and it was just like riddled with viruses, when you try to start it up and you try to do anything on it, you're not going to get very far, right? You're going to get all these pop-ups, you're going to get all these bots, you're going to get all this stuff that's going to go on. You're not going to be very efficient if you're trying to, work on a computer that has viruses and glitches and just all of this stuff, right? It's not going to be very effective. That's basically what was happening with the old grid, right? That thing was just riddled with bots and, I call them bogeys, just all kinds of stuff that was, really it would pop up and it would be it was really invasive, and it was really harmful for people, right? To try to do anything in that grid. It's really hard. So now it's like new grid. You don't even have to worry about that stuff anymore. But then there's still the old grid stuff that'll come up and try to convince you it's still relevant because it's trying to worm its way in to the new grid. And we have to just literally, all I do is I'll just be like, you're not needed anymore. Thank you. Goodbye. Anytime anything tries to come up, right? I'm just like, you're not needed anymore. Thank you. Goodbye. So now that we've moved into this new grid, we have to do everything in a new way. We have to approach things in a new way. We have to really get experimental, and this is one of the reasons why freedom from fear is so important, because it's very scary to do something new. It's very scary to do something that you're uncertain of. It's very scary to even start trying new things. And really all of that fear comes from, you may have guessed it, the old grid, right? There was a lot of fear implanted into the old grid. There was a lot of fear coding in the old grid. Not that it was originally put in place like that. It wasn't. But if you get enough viruses in a computer, it doesn't matter how shiny that computer was when it was new or how well it functioned at the beginning. If your computer's filled with bots and viruses and trackers and all of this other stuff, it's going to be clunky. It's going to have a hard time getting anything done. That's exactly what was going on with the old grid. It was clunky. There was a hard time getting anything done. Everything took forever, right? It took forever to make anything happen. Now it's things just happen so quickly, but we can almost be distrusting of that. Why is it happening so quickly? Why does it feel so effortless? Why does it feel, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm supposed to feel good making money? What do you mean I'm not supposed to be stressed out because of my job, right? These concepts are so foreign, but it's just because we've been used to this old grid for a long time. So on that note, we are going to go ahead and move forward. As we move through this, I want you to really start paying attention to anything that comes up that you can recognize as old grid. Anything that you can recognize as I think this is part of the old paradigm. And really the way to track this is through time, which is funny because most multidimensional infinite beings are currently, really on the time is fake as fuck train. And you're not wrong, but you're not exactly right either. Time is a made up unit of measurement. That's what it is. Time's a unit of measurement. It's just as fake as the measurement of a cup, right? There are cups of all different sizes. You can have a small cup, you can have a big cup, you can have a medium cup, you can have all of the different sizes in between, right? There is not actually one standard way to make a cup, like a mug. But we have a unit of measurement called a cup. And that's because collectively people agreed that a cup was going to equal this weight of measurement, this amount of measurement. That's it. That's how you explain time. Collectively, time was agreed upon. Okay, we're going to measure where we are in space utilizing this unit of measurement. So people know where to meet each other. If you don't know the time to meet someone, if someone just says, oh, let's meet up for dinner on Friday. Great, what time? And so you know where to meet them in space. So I'd really like to invite you to release the time is fake narrative and lean into what time actually is, which is a unit of measurement. Because to be honest, I used to say that too. And then I realized I sounded just as silly as if I was like, well, cups are fake, right? And people will say that, right? Particularly like people who are into the metric system. I don't know the metric system. I'm sorry. But a meter is also fake. There you go. It's a unit of measurement though, right? It's real as a unit of measurement. One of the cats is just upstairs like having a meltdown right now. I don't know what's going on. He's got words to say and he's freeing his throat chakra. It's probably because I closed the bedroom door so that I could record without Michael hearing me because he's still sleeping. And the cats really hate being separated from daddy. So they're like, how dare you? I'm just going to scream at the top of my lungs until daddy wakes up. And now he's done. See, I acknowledged him, and now he's like, I'm done screaming. So, on that note, with Fred screaming, welcome to Unlock Your Magic. I'm so happy that you're here. We are going to now get into the nitty gritty. We've talked about the theory of unlocking your magic. We've talked about why we need to unlock your magic. We've got a new grid. Things are functioning in a new way. You were on a cosmic mission. You're still on a cosmic mission, but now it's like you get to choose the mission. Like, what do you want? So I guess that's actually what I want to say to finish real quick is I want to say what I want you to do for this entire experience is to really lean into what do you want? And that is so difficult for people to figure out. That's why we have this whole process of Unlock Your Magic. That's why we have all of these different modules that we're going to be going through, because I can ask you these questions, but the truth is, for the most part, you're not going to know. If I'm just like, so what are you passionate about? You're like, oh, wow, I feel like I've been put on the spot and this is great. I don't know. Right? If I knew the answer to that question, I wouldn't have paid for this course, right? So you want to lean into what do you actually want though? It's a foreign question for us. Well, why is it a foreign question? Well, because you're a multidimensional infinite being. You've been on several cosmic missions. You've been doing the mission. There's a lot more rigidity to that. There's a lot less being able to just experience whatever you want or know what you want or tap into that when you're on a cosmic mission, when you're doing gridding to harmonize frequency ranges. I mean, hello, that's one of the reasons why we tap into what you're a specialist in. What am I a specialist in? We're going to go into what are your cosmic specialties as a soul when you're just out rolling around, like chilling, not worrying about like, oh, gotta go harmonize Earth, right? What are you a specialist in? But also, what are you a specialist in with these grids? What were you a specialist in this kind of big universal experiment that we've been shifting through? I say experiment because that's just a nice way to put it. It's like the universe was having a little experiment and we were all participating. That's a fun way to look at it. But when you've been in these energies of focusing on the mission, doing the mission, all of the stuff that we have done, it can be really hard to release that. And it can be really hard to tap into what you as a person, what you as a soul having a human experience would actually want. But this was like a double mission, okay? The first part of the mission was New Earth Grid. We're going to go down here. I should know. I was in a lot of these meetings. I'm an oracle. That's what oracles do. Oracles see all of the we can see all of the timelines that could happen, and then we can tell you the ones that are going to work out the way that you want them to. That's really what I was doing in all of those 2,000 readings that I did. Was I was telling people like, well, here's your options, and then you get to go and figure out which one you want. And I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of people didn't like that. They were like, no, I want you to take a candle and I want you to just make what I want happen. And it's like, well, that's not how this works. So you can pick a timeline and you can get on it, or you cannot. Those are your options. That's still your options. You can pick a timeline, you can get on it, or you cannot. That's what we're doing here. So the first part of the mission, New Earth Grid, we went in and some of us did some really strange shit, right? I got a job in a psych hospital. Why did I do that? Well, because because getting that job in that psych hospital actually led to everything else that I was going to do, right? I got a degree in theater. Part of that was because I really like theater, but part of that also was so that I could learn how to do a lot of things that I was going to do later, right? Everything kind of informed. I really feel like the witchcraft era was really like, that was like what the first part of this incarnation for me was doing. Then I went into Harvest Rose Witchery and I started doing all of the magic, and I started dissembling all of this really icky, lower vibrational energy, did all of that. And then it's like, well, now what, right? Because after I, in the course of doing that, we got the new grid up and going. The new grid's running. Everything's cool. So it's like we finished that mission. Then many of us are in this liminal space between finishing that mission and the rest of this incarnation. And so what the rest of this incarnation is like, congrats, guys, you're done. The new Earth Grid has been successfully installed and is completely active. Now you just get to sit back, relax, and open up to receive. Literally, like you just get to sit back, you get to relax, you get to wait for the rest of the cosmic homies to show up. You get to, basically it's like get your popcorn, because I'm telling y'all, the rest of 2024 is going to be a very interesting year. And I don't mean like the murder hornets in 2020 interesting. I mean like I genuinely believe we're about to see the fall of society as we know it, but what's coming is literally so much better than the bullshit that we were programmed to believe was good from the last little bit here on Earth. Like, it's literally the Renaissance is coming. So what do you want your cosmic Renaissance reality to be? That's really it. What do you want your cosmic Renaissance to be? And the truth is, the Renaissance idea can be proven all throughout the history of Earth. If you look at Earth, the same things happen over and over and over again. And what's playing out on Earth right now is just a reenactment of stuff that's already happened other places in the cosmos, sometimes a few other places. But if you look, there will be a big period of famine, war, famine, war, pestilence, and what was the other boy in the band of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Oh yeah, death. Famine, war, death, and pestilence. Well, y'all, we've had all of those. People are going hungry because they don't have enough food because of many different reasons. We've got lots of war going on right now. Pestilence in the form of quite literally a plague. And then, death coming from all of the above, right? Then, after the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse show up, without fail, there's a renaissance. There's always a renaissance. Look back through history. The most recent one quite literally was called the Renaissance. It's really, inventive name here. But it's like, it's the wheel has turned, right? And for the last time. Because now Earth is going to exit the cycles and the cycle of karma and the concept of karma. Because it's like Earth's like, she was like, I'm elevating in frequency range and I don't give a fuck who's on me. And to be perfectly honest, this is an Earth thing, right? This is not, many multidimensional and cosmic homies showed up to assist Earth because Earth itself as a planetary consciousness, as a being, Earth, the planet is a being. If you didn't know, Earth has a consciousness, and as a consciousness, Earth was like, fuck these guys. Yo, homies, you want to come help me out? And then the other planetary consciousness is tapped into that. And we're like, boo, we got you. Guys, we got to go to Earth, right? That's actually how this started, if you didn't know. That's how this started. It wasn't a federation. It wasn't a bunch of people who were like, let's go save the galaxy. Let's go ahead and let the savior complex die. That's old grid. Celeste grid, right? Celeste grid. That's over. What actually happened was Earth was like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm done. And so in order to facilitate lots of people had gotten like lost in kind of like the karmic loops, right? A lot of very high frequency beings had gotten kind of like stuck in this veil of illusion. And forgotten that they weren't even really from Earth to begin with, right? So that's what's going on. We were like, all right, Earth, we got you, boo. And to make it perfectly clear here, we ain't here to save Earth. We're just here to facilitate Earth doing what Earth does best, which is, honestly, I think it's alchemy. I think that Earth was based on a principle of alchemy, and I think that Earth's specialty is transformation and transmutation of energy. And I think that's why if a soul... I feel like if a soul needs to, this is going to sound so strange because a soul isn't supposed to have physicality, but I feel like if, maybe it comes down to chakras. I'm not 100% sure, but it's like, this is not my area of expertise. These are some of my cosmic homies' areas of expertise though. But it's like if a soul needs to physically heal, maybe from the chakras, right? Like if you've experienced things that have caused a lot of physical trauma, as a soul to transmute that, it's like you go to Orion. But as a soul, if you want to transmute energetic issues, you come to Earth. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm close there. But anyways, on that note, that's just a little, if you happen to know the answer, please feel free to tell me, because like I said, that's not my cosmic specialty. But it's many of you guys's. So that's great. I love that. I love that we can all work together and it's really fun. And that's kind of the last thing I want to say here. We're all in this together. We're all working together, right? For the old grid was every man for themselves. Every person for themselves. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to help you. You have to do everything and fuck you was really the energy with the old grid. And something that has become very prevalent and very obvious to me in the past few months since the new grid finalized, excuse me, is that we're all in this together, right? It's no longer every man for themselves, every woman every person for themselves, whatever. I don't give a shit about gender. It's just a word. All words are made up. Fun fact, I don't actually even think that, all words are made up. Like, you realize that, right? Like, you can't actually steal a word from someone else because it's all made up. It's just, by the way, BT dubs. Just going to remind you of that. You already know it. You're a multidimensional infinite being, but I'm here to remind you of certain things because sometimes the programming is so insidious in this place. Like, you don't even realize how deep the savior complex of Earth goes And I don't mean that as like of the old Earth grid. Like Earth itself does not have a savior complex. Earth just wants to vibe and chill and be pretty and like have fun. I mean, have you seen the fucking geography of this place? Like, this place is magnificent. Like, Earth just wants to revel in all of its oceans and tree glory and vibe, dudes. And the more that we can connect in with that pure Earth energy, because I'm telling you, Earth's going to transmute herself. Earth's going to, like, we're about to see a bunch of people die off. We're about to see a bunch of shifts happen. And there's going to be fear-mongering that goes along with that, because people, they want the old grid to come back. But the old grid ain't coming back. So it doesn't really matter. Like, they can say whatever. Earth's about to cleanse herself. That's just all there is to it. She's like, I'm done with this. You can get out of my harmonic frequency. Get out, yeet. I'm going back to resonance. I'm good. Like, Earth woke up, and Earth's kind of pissed off about a lot of things, to be honest. So all of that stuff that we're hoping is going to go away, I'm telling you guys, Earth's about to make it happen. But we're all in this with Earth, right? We're all in this together. We're not just out here fighting for survival as a solo being anymore. We can tap back into the collective consciousness, and we can tap back into tapping into that collective consciousness with Earth itself. And with the true beings of Earth, there are only 144,000 souls that originated inside of the Earth matrix, inside of the Earth grid. There's very few actual Earthlings. You've just been programmed to believe that there's a lot of them, but there's not. But those 144,000 that's actually what the 144,000 were. Everybody just kind of forgot. It was the 144,000 souls that originally came into conscious awareness in the Earth matrix. And on that note, let's go find out what the fuck you're passionate about in the next module. Love you. Bye.